I just needed to switch on record. So turn off Instagram, Facebook and Twitter and put the questions in the question box as you think of them rather than right at the end, and I will answer them at the end. So nice tall listening position, especially you, Jensen, who's a cat, by the way. Sit tall by your desk and grab your pen and paper. You are in the right place today if you are slightly concerned or hugely concerned that you're eating too much sugar. And I'm going to tell you exactly why sugar is so bad for you, why you are so addicted to it, and it might not be necessarily your fault, and what you can do to come off that condition. Addiction. Now, one of the members that I was speaking to recently came up with this fantastic phrase I wanted to share with you, because this is the ethos of Get Gorgeous. Once you know your body, you will begin to respect it. Once you understand and you have that education, you never lose that knowledge. That knowledge is with you forever, and you will begin to respect what is happening and what's doing to your body. So that might be quite a scary visual, that poison on the sugar cube. But this is what we're going to discuss today. What are we doing here today? Sugar can damage your heart. It promotes belly fat and it makes you feel tired all of the time. Did you know that sugar has the same toxic effect on your liver as alcohol? It goes through the same metabolic pathway as alcohol. So it has that same toxic effect. And sugar is everywhere. Salad dressings, bread, pizza, red pepper hummus, bizarre things you wouldn't even know. 74% of packaged goods in your supermarket have sugar in them. And I'm going to teach you today how to avoid sugar in those packaged products. And it can age you as much as cigarettes. Now that to me is scary. So there's you scratching your head. Why are you here today? Well, you're probably confused about the conflicting dietary information. I have spent a couple of decades getting to the bottom of it all, changing the way that I think, and you've probably been the same. I've had the opportunity to spend the time and specialize in it, and I want you today to learn more about why sugar is so bad for you and why you are addicted. Now, I know you're busy and rushed for time, and it's my job to make things easy for you. That's why I'm here. That's my rationale. So you're in the right place if you're a newbie to nutritional education. Or maybe you're looking for some exercise fuel tips. What's the best thing to eat to get your exercise going? And you're an experienced dieter. I work with a lot of experienced dieters, and you just know that diets don't work. If you're forced into doing something, you're not going to stay at it because it's a very short period of time that you stick to the diet, and then as soon as it's done, you haven't got any education to keep you going and you've got no motivation to keep you going. So you go on a diet, it works for a while, and as soon as you come back off, you go back to your normal eating patterns, and the diet, you've lost all the weight, you've gained all the weight that you've lost. So if I can introduce habits, nutritional habits based on education, then you will keep the weight off. So the one thing that we're going to learn today is to reduce your sugar intake. Now, diets don't work. I've got an ebook. It's on my website, www.get-gorgeous.com, because diets distract you. You're busy. It's another layer of complexity into your day. And once you get to the end of the diet, or once you've had that inner teenager in you that suddenly revolts against the diet, you feel like you're a failure. They're too complicated. And there's no education. There's rules, but there's no education behind it. And generally, there's nobody there to motivate you. There might be, on occasion, someone to motivate you, but someone that understands you and is personal to you. Someone that you can understand and link with. So I use an easy strategy, like a habit. And you don't become so emotionally attached to the outcome of a habit. Okay, you think, okay, I can do this habit, and if it doesn't work, I can start again tomorrow. But you are hugely emotionally attached to a diet. You really tell yourself off if you don't work with a diet. So 90% of what you're doing probably isn't working, but 10% is. And I want to draw out that 10% of what you're doing and help it to work for you. I love this picture. Tune out now. Tune out now if you are not interested in becoming healthier. If you're not interested in becoming fitter and more shapelier. If you can't commit an hour a week for the next few weeks, then don't worry. Tune out. If you're not interested in paying attention to your gorgeous body, if you just expect it to do the things that you ask without any input, then tune out. There will be other opportunities to join me, but if it's not right for you at the moment, tune out. Put your fingers in the ears. La, 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 la. Oh dear, that's a scary photo. 18 years as a fitness professional and working with Adele, Precision Nutrition Certified Coach. That's me. Here is a comment from a Get Gorgeous member saying that they really enjoy the Facebook page. It's like a secret wonderland where everyone is wearing the same shoes. All the ladies are lovely and very motivating, preferring a female community where we all understand each other. And this member particularly liked my structured approach. I'm very pragmatic. I like the touchy-feely stuff, but I also like pragmatism, common sense, and structure. I'm busy. I need to know what I want to do. And this member is saying that with the program, everything is in bite-sized chunks, and that works. Great. As a precision nutrition certified coach, I offer that to you. I am a weight loss coach and I specialize in exercise. Pilates exercise is something that I really like. Here is me in New Zealand going to the mecca of fitness instructors. It's called Les Mills, and I just loved it. But I prefer to call myself something more touchy-feely, a gorgeous coach. Something to help you to get more gorgeous. Worked with a range of health issues and weight issues. As a Pilates teacher, I get all sorts of issues coming to me, as you can probably imagine. And I've had to work with those over the last 20 years. I enjoy it. I love what I do. And my mission is to help you to enjoy exercise. Does that sound like a tall order? Well, here is one of the ladies, here's their comments about exercise. Somebody that really, really didn't like exercise. And I'll just read it out so it's easy for you to take on board. So I got the message from Adele saying the website was down this evening and I could have the night off. Now, you would think I would be delighted. I certainly would have been in the past, but no, I was gutted. So much so that I took the dogs out to the playing fields and jogged. Now, this is a lady who's never jogged in her life. Twice around the field, she's got a shock horror face. What have you done to me? I'm addicted to exercise. See, it works. It happens. She's saying that she's a totally different person to the one that started the journey almost 12 weeks ago. I am so thankful I decided to sign up. Yay! She's just settling down for a cup of green tea and a handful of mixed nuts. Now, does that sound completely distant from where you are now? Well, I've got ways, I've got persuasive methods to get you to that stage. Here is what you're going to discover today, your first Get Gorgeous habit. I'm going to get under the skin, the psyche of why you eat things, and I'm going to change the way that you eat things. And I'm going to start with sugar. Why is sugar so bad for you? Do you remember this little picture? Have you seen this little picture? It's been on Facebook. This is how much sugar. Look at Red Bull. Look how much sugar is in each of those drinks. You can't see it very well, forgive me, but the imagery is enough. The orange juice, look at that. Learn how to remove these sugars from your diet and why you're so addicted. What you can do to come off that addiction. Education. Make sure that you stay right to the end of the presentation. Don't fall asleep because you've got this pretty pink sugar checklist. And it'll help you to decide what to buy, how to make a healthy choice, what to look for on a food label that isn't calories. And I want you to help you calculate your sugar content in your everyday food. You don't, it sounds complicated. The sheet's not complicated. It will help you do it once or twice and you will create a permanent habit. Trust me, done it for years. Here's my story. I was always fat as a kid, thunder thighs, big girl. I remember at school having to do the cross-country race. Fat chance. Ridiculously hard for someone like me. I tried it. I tried training, but I just couldn't. Well, I did it. Obviously, I did it. It was obligatory at school, but it was hellish. I thought I could do it. I failed. I failed miserably at school. At university, I thought I'd give exercise another go. I remember sitting in front of the telly and my bouncy housemates would come jumping in after an aerobic session and their legs looked great, and members of the university groups mentioned their legs, and I thought, right, come on, let's give this a go. So I turned up in my best leggings. I only had 3 holes in them and I'd sewn most of those up, so I was looking hot to trot, and off I went into the university aerobic session. Oh my word, I lasted about 3.8 seconds. It was ridiculously fast. And guess what? I blame myself. Unfit, fat, can't do it, walk away, which is what I did. I felt like a failure, and we all do, but it's not your fault. What I learned afterwards was that that class was ridiculously high, and the lovely instructor didn't really know what she was doing. She was catering for somebody that was already fit, and that's the problem. It's finding where you fit into a class and finding a class that works for you. So I had a similar story when I went off to work. I started working, I can't remember how old I was now, but Saatchi & Saatchi, that was my first job. And I remember the really snotty receptionist, gorgeous blonde, 6'8", skinny as a rake, handing over my health club card and saying, well, you won't be using that. So I thought, right, I'm going to try it. Off I trotted along Princes Street, because we were in Edinburgh, to the club, and I fell in love. I fell in love with the instructor. It was a much older guy. He was 20 years older than me at the time. I didn't fall in love with him literally, but the class rocked. It was fantastic. We were doing the can-can. We were having a laugh. It was brilliant. And I got the key. I got the key. I met my first instructor that I absolutely adored, and I started to get the bug. But it wasn't all plain sailing. I had another setback. I had an injury. My first son was born, and I just couldn't continue. But then something changed. Something fundamentally changed. I met a mentor, my mentor, Patrick Holford, in 1998, and he changed the way I thought about food. And rather than just eating because I was hungry, I started to understand what I should eat to sustain my energy levels. I started to understand what I was doing, and I started to practice food nutrition. Again, it wasn't easy. Their workload, I was working full time, I had commitments, I had a small child, and basically, to be honest, my friend laughed at me. I came out with all these different alternatives and they just thought I was nuts. Now that is hard to do. It's hard to make changes when you've got negativity like that. But then I had a big turning point, and it was what really set me on a goal, a mission to understand what was going on. After the birth of my first son, I then had 9 years of infertility, and I tried everything. I couldn't talk about it whilst I was going through it, but I can talk about it now because I've now had another babies. But I tried Chinese medicine, acupuncture, reflexology, brilliant osteopaths, relaxation, meditation. And what does that mean to you? Well, it means that I've got that experience, I've got that knowledge, and I've got that background. I threw myself into nutrition for a decade. That was the first decade. Test me. This is a real live shot of one of our Get Gorgeous members. We don't do headshots. We're too embarrassed to do headshots, and we don't do, well anyway, but this is what we do. We share things on our membership site. Whether or not you ever buy anything from me, you are going to benefit to understand more about what you eat and why it is making you so unhealthy. And test me. This is one young lady who has tested me, and she's lost 9 centimeters off her waist in 5 weeks, and another lost 5% body fat in 2 weeks. Now that's quite a lot, and they are great results, but that's not always the way that results happen, because we measure and assess body fat. We don't look at the scales, we don't look at water loss, we look at body fat. Real, tangible, measured results. Now this might not mean anything to you, or it might mean a huge amount to you. This is another gorgeous member who was able to take her wedding ring on and off, and she hadn't taken it off for 5 years. So the Get Gorgeous principles work. Habits work. And one habit we're going to work on today is sugar. You can apply it today. Get Gorgeous is a positive approach to weight loss. If you concentrate on what you're eating and the positivity and the changes that you make, you never unlearn that. And these principles of food become easier to implement forever. So we look at food you can eat to make you leaner, fitter, and shapelier. What is making you poorly? What's making you stressed? Have you ever considered that it's your diet that's making you feel under the weather? Sugar. It is nutritionally valueless. It's a simple carbohydrate and gives you nothing but calories. But we love the taste, Adele. I know. But nutritional food, normal food, gives you the signal, I'm full. But sugar gives you no I'm full signals. In fact, it revs you up. And your body, this is something I was talking to Tracy about earlier today, your body has had the signals and you just keep wanting to complete that signal. You just want to keep on eating. So important to be aware of your habitual sugar consumption. What are you doing at 7 o'clock at night? Or what's your 11's treats? That's your habitual sugar consumption. That's what you need to start looking at and being aware of and seeing if you can change that one stage at a time. And one of the things that a lot of members get confused with is fruit. Now things like bananas and grapes are really high acting sugar explosions in your body. So if I can ask you gently to try and avoid real sugary fruits like that, and if you are eating a lot of fruit, try and draw it back to say 2 or 3 pieces a day. Okay, that might be your WOHO awakening call, but sugar is in fruit and you need to be aware of it. I'm not saying don't eat it, I'm just saying be aware of it. Now here's Michael Mosley. I talk about him a lot. He is the author of the 5-2 diet. I don't agree with the 5-2 diet, but I love Michael Mosley. It's not an age thing, it's what he says. He watched his dad die of diabetes. He put his dad on a low-fat diet, and he changed his opinion of a low-fat diet because a low-fat diet has sugar in it, and it's sugar that is the killer. And sugar can be as something as simple as your white granulated sugar, or it can be simple carbohydrates. Now, Michael Mosley and a lot of other nutritionalists talk about the research the low-fat diet was based on. It was based in the 1950s, and it only used 6 countries. They didn't include France and Germany. Now, the whole NHS principles are based on this research. It is soaked in to the way that we think. Low fat is the way to solve our obesity problems. But it's so not. This research came from a chap in America, Keys, Keys, and he was a very flamboyant, very strong personality, and he worked with Eisenhower, and he managed to get this whole thinking pushed through the system. Now we had the British counterpart called John Yudkin. He's written loads of books. He was our scientist, and he disagreed. But he wasn't quite as loud, he wasn't quite as gregarious, and he got shouted down. So we've had this low-fat myth going on for a long, long time, and education is sinking in, things are changing, and people are changing the way that they think about food. What you need to know is that sugar can damage your heart. It affects the pumping mechanism of your heart. If you think about sugar as this bit, well, you know what it's like, really syrupy. If you think about trying to pump that through your heart or your arteries, it's really difficult. And this is what leads to high blood pressure and an increased risk of stroke. It is a far greater threat to your heart than fat. It sits on your belly. Is that a good belly shot? Do you like that shot? So when you eat sugar, and it could be, as I say, a carbohydrate sugar, a simple carbohydrate, or your granulated table sugar, it produces an effect, insulin, a hormone, suddenly comes into your body. And insulin has a lot of jobs. It's a very, very clever hormone. And one of its jobs is fat storage. So when you've had a high intake of sugar, when you've eaten 6 bananas or a jam donut, your body releases your insulin. And your body produces glucose as a consequence. And your insulin, your hormone, has got to do something with that glucose. So it tries to clear out your system. It's called homeostasis. It tries to keep your body in a same even keel. So you've got this huge overload and your body says, right, where am I going to put this? Shoves it out into fat storage and it waits. But because you've gone through that big high, you now get a big low. And that is your vicious circle. High sugar foods like sweet and white bread release a large amount of insulin. Your body processes your food and insulin helps to drop your sugar levels, but then you need a pickup. And it's that highs and lows that affects your body. And insulin triggers off lots of other hormones like cortisol. We all know cortisol. Stress hormone. Help, I'm in trouble. So you get that feeling of anxiety when you eat sugar because it's triggered off other hormones. And it specifically stores it around your belly area. And that's really scary because that's where all your vital organs are. Oh, so tired all of the time. So what do? We grab some sugar to try and pick ourselves up. And again, I don't just mean sugar, I mean simple carbohydrates. We've all done it. I do it. Not anymore, but I used to. But you go and grab a bar of chocolate. When I was teaching as an instructor a long time ago, I would go out and grab a chocolate bar to keep me going into the next exercise. I had this whole thing in my head that sugar, carbohydrates give you energy. Well, they don't. Fat gives you energy. Fat is more long-term and stored. And I don't mean fat in your body. I do mean fat in your body. It helps to charge you through longer and more consistently. So when you get this sugar rush from white food, this high insulin absorbs the excess glucose in your body. And it does its job and it creates this drastic drop. And it's these peaks and troughs that we talked about that give you these feelings of being drained, gives you this feeling of being irritable and tired and mood swings. So yes, I know our lovely other halves will say, well, that's your hormones. They're right, but it's your insulin hormone that's doing it. And sugar saps your brain power. You know when you get those times of feeling foggy. Well, that's why. Sugar ages your body as much as cigarettes. You've got fibers in your skin, collagen and elastin, and they are affected by lots of sugar in your blood system. So they're proteins, these collagen and elastins, and what happens is glycation is the process where glucose, sugar, attaches to these proteins and makes it harder for these proteins to repair themselves. So here's a sugar face. Somebody's got thinning skin, grey, pasty white hue, or gaunt look, or sagging under the eyes. It's all very attractive, isn't it? Let's move on. But it has a toxic effect. I mentioned this right at the beginning. Researchers have asked for limitations, warnings on sugar, similar to alcohol, because as I said, it follows the same metabolic path. Fructose in particular, which is another word for sugar. So one of your liver functions is to regulate your blood sugar levels, and it stores some of the excess glucose that you eat and it releases it between meals. But if you've got lots of glucose in your system all the time, it can't release it. And it can only store a certain amount. So the rest of it is stored as liver fat. And that's why it's got the same metabolic pathway as alcohol, because it's stored as non-alcoholic fatty liver and it becomes a disease. So if you've constantly got sugar in your body, if you're constantly topping up on simple carbohydrates, then that's what's going to happen. It hides. Sugar hides. So if you look at this nutritional label, you'll see that there's total fat is 0. Saturated fat is 0. Trans fat is 0. All fab, that's what we're looking for. I don't agree anymore. None of this is particular. Saturated fat, not a problem. Trans fat's a problem. So I'm glad that's not in there. But we need our polyunsaturated fat and we need mono. But what we have got is sugar. 5% sugar. So they take out the fat and they put in sugar. And that's what Michael Mosley pointed out, and that's what nutritionalists are pointing out. But it's not where we are in terms of, we're not being told this on a daily basis unless it's from people like me who've discussed it all and researched it all. So it hides in tomato sauce, in your fat-free dressings, in your marinades, your baked beans, your bolognese sauce. I don't want you to be counting calories. I want you to be looking for sugar. And again, here's another one. Total fat, 1.5, saturated fat, not too bad. No trans fat, so you think that that's quite healthy. But look at the sugar. Oh my word. And this is a healthy, low-fat yogurt. I'm getting a little bit emotional, aren't I? Sugar in your cereal and yogurts is astronomical. Fizzy drinks, loads of sugar. Fruit juice, loads of sugar. High glycemic fruits, I mentioned them earlier. Bananas, grapes and mangoes. And that's a sad goodbye, I know that. Breads, pastas and pastries, high sugar. Savoury snacks, really? Yup. Pretzels and crisps, high sugar. If you don't believe me, have a look on the labels. Don't look for the calories. Look, calories from fat, 15. Calories, 170. Well, that's nothing, is it? You don't mind 170 calories, but you do if you know that it's all coming from sugar. It's addictive. I like this diagram or this picture because it's showing the trigger points in your brain. The rise and fall of insulin going back out of whack means that you become insulin resistant and you don't get that full mechanism. So you don't get that satiated feeling, so you keep eating. You keep finding sugary treats throughout the day. That's what makes us unhealthy. That's what's making us fat. Sugar creates a surge of feel-good chemicals. Dopamine, serotonin. I am totally addicted to serotonin, but serotonin you can get in other ways. Talk about that later. Now these chemicals are neurotransmitters and they communicate information around the body. You're firing them off. And these neurotransmitters are really important because they affect your mood, your sleep, your concentration and your weight. So what we need to do, man, is balance your neurotransmitters. Your neurotransmitters like serotonin stabilizes your mood and they act like Mother Nature's Valium. But there's also neurotransmitters that stimulate the brain, that get things done. But if they get overstimulated, that's me on a good day, it causes anxiety, stress and insomnia. So excess sugar in your system is going to make this happen. It's going to overstimulate your brain and it can affect your whole sugar balance, your whole hormonal balance, and it's linked to inflammation, brain inflammation. And the Huffington Post mentioned this, the big article on this, and linking sugar to inflammation and eventually to long-term depression. Also to Alzheimer's disease. It's a neurodegenerative disorder. This is what's happening because your transmitters, your neurotransmitters are out of whack. So again, I've just gone back to that label just to issue the point that 74% of packaged foods in your supermarket have got sugar in. So watch for them. Eat clean. This is a phrase that everybody's throwing around, isn't it? So go for products with no labels or few labels. That's what eat clean means, basically. You just eat stuff that isn't on a label, like a cabbage. How exciting is that? But if you are eating something with a label, make sure that sugar is not on the first 3 ingredients. So if you look at this ingredient label, you've got water, corn syrup is sugar. That's number 2. You've got vinegar, and look, number 4 is also sugar. So sugar is hidden. Names of sugar are hidden in the labels, and you get savvy to those names. So look at the packaging. Look for sugar content first and rule out a food if it's got either 1 to 3 on the ingredients list. Now this is on my checklist, so don't freak out, it's all here. And check the amount of sugar in a serving size. Okay, so if you've got a serving size that's 100 grams or 100 mils, you multiply out what you would consume if you ate the entire pack. So if something's got 14% sugar per 100 ml, it's easy. It's 14% of that product is sugar. So if you're drinking a can of Coke, which is 250 ml, you need to multiply that by 14 by 2.5, and that will give you 35 grams of sugar in that. 35 grams of sugar in a 250 ml can. So that equals 8.5 teaspoons of sugar. So I've done this little calculation on the sugar checklist. It might sound a bit over the top at the moment, but it is very, very simple. Do it once and it will make sense to you, okay? Check the labels. So these are a few that I've done, and I figured out that Heinz baked beans, an entire can, was 5 teaspoons of sugar, whereas the Sainsbury's one was an own label was 5.5. Now I think I'm doing my family more good by not buying a branded product, but actually it's the other way around. The branded products can sometimes be better. Ice cream, this is always the real downer. Sit down for this, girls. It's huge, 25 teaspoons in a bowl of ice cream. Well, my bowl anyway. But Häagen-Dazs and all these big brands, I pointed this one out because it's a sorbet. It's not even an ice cream. So even in the healthy variety, you've got a huge amount of sugar going on. So what's your biggest aha moment so far? I want a little bit of feedback from you. I want to hear what you've learned so far. I've got more to offer, more to give you, but just as an inside information, just explain to me, just put a few messages in the question box and just tell me what you're feeling right now, how you're feeling about your neurotransmitters, how you know that sugar is tipping that balance, and what you feel and what you've learnt in the last 2 to 3 minutes. That would be fantastic. Great, those questions. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jenny. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's great. That's good. So I'm just going to look in the question box. Good, keep those coming through. Thank you, Anne and Nancy. Yes, I will talk about all the different names of sugar. So that's a great question. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tracy. You always chat to me on my workshops. I really appreciate that. Finding the food labels, really useful to look at. Thank you, Tracy. Yes, and I promise it sounds really complicated, but it's not. It becomes very, very straightforward and very easy. Personally, I think calorie counting is way too difficult, but I find looking for sugar on a label dead easy. So that's my job, to make things simple. Now I've got practical steps to help you form a habit. And I want you to first of all start that you can do this. Believe in yourself. Little wins. And if you are going to have a chocolate fix at 7 o'clock at night, remember that it might affect your sleep. And if you still need it, then go for dark chocolate or go for dates. And one of the ones on Deliciously Ella, what she does is she has those really expensive dates and she puts peanut butter in the middle of it, so it reduces the glycemic index. And embrace hot drinks. I am a massive hot drink person. Green tea all through the day, and then I've got a whole range of clipper teas at night. And that's my excitement. How exciting am I? Coconut water, you've seen all the celebrities drinking it. Well, the reason is because it hasn't got quite as much fructose as everything else. Personally, I use water. I don't go near any of it. Cinnamon is a perfect natural sweetener. Oh, thanks, Fiona. Explains why ice cream triggers my migraine. Yes, and it does me. I know that if I have too much sugar in my body, I'm so in tune now that I can feel the direct consequence. So thank you for sharing that, Fiona. Cinnamon is a natural sweetener. Add that to your porridge rather than a bowl of, rather than your brown sugar. I know, I'm gutted about the sorbet as well. Swap your fruity yogurts. If I can, again, this is another little insight I want you to take away with you today. You've heard me talk about this before, but fruity yogurts, doesn't matter how good they are, how organic they are, but the fruit in that fruity yogurt is a problem, but they've also added sugar and your taste buds get used to it. So try and go, and I've got to pronounce this correctly because I get told off by Sharon, Feyar. It's Greek and you don't pronounce it phage or phage, it's Feyar. So when you go into the supermarket, that's what you ask for, Feyar, and she'll know exactly what you mean. And focus on one swap at a time. Don't go, right, I'm going to go sugar clean tomorrow. It's not going to happen. Let it work on your subconscious. Start asking yourself, there's a new word out called affirmations, AFFORMATIONS. And what affirmations do is that they ask you a question. Why is it so easy for me to avoid sugar? And your brain will start answering the question. Okay, so there's no pressure. Why is it so easy for me to avoid sugar? Get Gorgeous consists of habits, and habits like this, like the sugar habit, there's also a healthy fat habit, there's a water habit, a protein habit, there's a less carbs habit. Now I've talked about sugar and simple carbohydrates, but there's a bigger question out there that I would love to answer, but now's not the time. But less carbs is something that will really help your exercise. But don't do it on your own, ladies. You need to compensate with other food groups. Exercise is another habit that we concentrate on, and we take weeks to bed them in. Some members do it in 12 weeks, some members do it a lot longer. And I use accountability, adherence to make them stick. And I am your accountability buddy. Have you seen my accountability glasses? They're quite scary. There is nothing stronger than a habit. You know that. If you've ever been a nail biter, how do you stop biting your nails? Bad habits and good habits. Once you're in a good habit, it's really hard. There's my adherence glasses. I look quite famous, don't I? Habits create success, not diets, habits. And a healthy habit today is to avoid low-fat products and look for sugar in your labels. That's one nutritional habit. That's what I want you to walk away with today. I've got 12 other nutritional habits. I've got loads of exercise to get you into the habit of that. And the weekly or the module adherence habit as well. And checking in with your friends. It works. You've seen the walking challenge. You've seen the people that are on week 7 and week 8 by reporting into me, and it's as simple as that, and reporting to you on the Facebook page works. People are getting stuck in, they're doing it. Adherence is the difference between success and failure. I know because I've seen it work. Now look at me, enjoying an exercise habit. If you want to work your arms, bingo. In the Get Gorgeous membership site, you've got arm exercises, you've got legs and bums exercises. And when you use your big muscles, you burn more fat. And you can work on these in the privacy of your own home. There's only me watching. And you can see how much I love exercise. Exercise is retrospective. You love it afterwards. And the more you do, I promise, the easier it becomes. Remember my story. 2, 3, 4 times I tried to get into exercise, but it's because I went about it in the wrong way. Within the program, I can help you to start off slowly. Traditional high-low cardio work, moving on at a pace that you can enjoy. And you love exercise afterwards. You feel great. And this is what I was telling you. I'm addicted to serotonin. And this happens through exercise. It also happens through sugar. But wouldn't it be fab if I could swap your serotonin sugar rush for a serotonin exercise rush? Do you think that seems possible? Well, this is how I do it. The habit of adherence. This is one of the adherence sheets from the Get Gorgeous membership program. And what we do is we have one like this, a pretty one like this, and this is with us for the whole module. Print it off as many times as you need, and we just make sure that we get that habit sorted. And then at the end of the module, when you feel that you've got it, you then have another adherence sheet. So you transfer this information onto an online system, and with the magic of science, it comes straight into my inbox, and I can see with my adherence glasses what you've been doing, what your feedback is, what you think about the adherence for that week, the habit for that week, any problems that you've had. And you do all of this in a time that suits you. Soul support habit, reaching out to people, congratulate anyone that's chatted to me online, on Facebook, whatever, because it becomes a habit, and that habit helps you to change. If you feel that there's somebody there that you can talk to, even if it's just a little rant about, oh my God, I've just failed, I'm eating 700 kilos worth of chocolate, it's okay. You can talk to someone about it, talk yourself round. But if it's all in your head, doesn't work. Think about this. We become the average of the 5 people we spend time with. So if you spend time with positive people, then you're going to feel positive. Your soul community helps you to succeed with your goals. Positive thinking. We've got loads of thoughts going on in our brain. Did you know we had between 50 and 70,000 thoughts a day? Now, are they positive or are they negative? Tell me. Yep, go on, put it in the question box. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, I know. She said that 64,000 are negative about herself. Well, that's no good, is it? What does your subconscious hear? So this is why I'm always posting things like this. I'm learning how to love my gorgeous body. Or why do I love my gorgeous body? There's an affirmation. Turn it around. Let your subconscious start to change. So you get into the habit of daily affirmations, and they work. I mean, there was a French pharmacist, a psychologist, and he achieved phenomenal recovery rates in his clinics. And you must have heard this affirmation, because it's not a question. Every day, in every way, I'm feeling better and better. Simple as that, and it works. So every day, I'm feeling healthier and stronger, and your subconscious starts to listen. So remember, this is not just theory. I have worked with these habits, affirmations, exercise routines, nutritional habits to change my life, and I've changed my customers' life, my clients' life, my gorgeous members' lives. And here is a gorgeous member. I've taken her name out. You can see her age, and you can see her results. Completely anonymous, but you can see where we've gone, where we started, and where we've ended up in week 12. Now, as I say, this doesn't happen to work in 12 weeks. It can be much longer than that. But here we are on the starter week with the abdominals, and the percent skin fold measurement is the fat measurement. You can see how that's reduced. So she's reduced that quite a lot. And the neck, and these are different measurements. These are tape measurements. And you can see that the average steps aren't great, but they're okay. We don't need to do a huge amount. We just need to keep our metabolism tipping over. But the pulse, look at the pulse. It's gone down. And look at the body weight. She's lost 26 pounds. And look at the body fat. It's gone from 32 to 20. Amazing results. And it's clinical results like this. It's measured results that keep you positive, that keep you going. We've got photography as well. We've got ladies who, well, I ask all ladies to take photos, but we're not that keen, got to be honest. But some of us do, and this, I just love this. I mean, look at the change. Amazing. What's this all about? Well, this isn't just about weight loss. It's about feeling healthy and energized and learning how to eat the right food, enjoying your life with your friends and your family this summer, right now, feeling happy about the food you eat, because you know what you're eating, and you know that your eating is good for you. And you've got enough exercise squished into your week, an exercise that suits you, and changing your relationship with food. You become leaner, fitter, and shapelier. Beautiful. So I'm not sure why you showed up here today. It might be that you've never dieted. Yeah, well, I think we all have at some stage of our life. And you don't like the sound of it, but you want something that's a healthy alternative to dieting. Well, that's what this is. It may be that you have been working towards your perfect weight and you've started to lose weight, but it's not going, and you're still struggling. You might have plateaued because you haven't quite got your macronutrients sorted out, i.e. you may be still eating too many carbs for the amount of exercise that you're doing. I work with you to sort that out. Find out how to be a little healthier. Or you might just be curious to find out what's going on. But I hope you get this one big thing. The secret of becoming healthier, leaner and fitter, shapelier you is habits. And losing weight without feeling knackered the whole time. Creating habits and eating the right food will enable you to exercise without feeling starving. Family, friend noticing and being proud of your health. And the ability to let go, leave food on the plate. It's easy. It is not hard. Diets make it hard. It is not. Module habits are easy. Get gorgeous is handed out chunk by chunk in the right order. Simple. Easy to follow habits. Very clear. Right at the beginning. Get under the skin, your weight size, why you do things, and change the whole thinking, the whole structure. So work on changing your beliefs, your subconscious. Do it lots of different tools, lots of mind tools, like emotional freedom technique, meditation, affirmations, all these wonderful soul supports that we give you to help you on your weight loss journey. In a short period of time, you will lose weight from your waist without dieting. It is not hard work. Einstein always says, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. So I make things simple, and if it's not simple, then I've got to go back and re-explain it. So how do you apply this weight loss program to you? Well, you've got a choice. You can do it slow. You can spend months listening to all the different things that I offer, which I'm very happy to do, and you can make the decisions on your own what you eat, based on your own trial and error. It took me 20 years, and I'm in the industry. But things are changing, and we need to stay on top of it. And let's be honest, if you are time poor, this might not be a viable option. It might even cost you more money if you're doing lots of different things wrong. If you're paying for a gym and you never use it, or you can do it quickly using my 12-step process. Swimming with dolphins, that's what I want. I want you to feel happy. I want you to have the permanent healthy eating, successful weight loss, healthy eating. And I work on so many different fronts. Education, exercise, support, two types of support, group support and personal support, adherence, making sure you stick to the habit, and measurements, that's what you saw earlier. And absolutely, this is the cheapest and easiest way from getting to being where you are now to feeling fit and healthy. I don't want you to feel guilty. But feeling guilty is so negative for your body and for your mind. You feel depressed. I don't want you to leave your happiness on the table, so you can start these healthy nutritional habits right now. What is Get Gorgeous? Well, it's 12 nutritional food modules, 12 different exercise classes, and it's all delivered via a private member's website. All you need is Wi-Fi. So if you go to get-gorgeous.com, you'll see the front page. You'll see all the walking challenge, the water challenge, and the tummy challenge. You'll see a little bit about me. You can play around all the tabs at the top. And then you'll see a members page. And that's where you access all the goodies. You're sent an email every time the new module is released to get you back into the swing of things in case you've wandered off. You've got me in the Facebook page, private forum talking to you. You've got your pals talking to you, and you're in the same group. Everybody's on the same journey. Every module, you send back your adherence sheets and I look at it. You get a goodie bag. Might not look like a goodie bag. Those calipers look a bit scary, don't they? And the program is using easy habits. So your progress is slow, but it's inevitable. The exercise videos. You've got recordings. Similar to this, you've got recordings of the education lessons, but you've also got a nutritional workbook. So it depends on how you learn. You might be an auditory learner like this, or a visual learner, but you've also got the workbook in case you want to go along and take it with you wherever you're going. You've got the adherence sheets and you've got measurements. All these things, no travel involved. Module 1, ready now. You work at your own pace. And what I love about this, what really fires me up, is that it complements your existing way of life. That's why I made this program for women, because I know how busy you are. I know that one more task is like the straw that breaks the camel's back. So if I can do something that complements what you're doing already, if I can make it as simple and as easy as possible, then it will happen beautifully. There's no stress involved. And you get a new understanding of your body and your food. Each module creates a long-term habit. So I've gone through the results. I've talked to you about the different results that people have had. What interests me is the body fat. What interests me is the pulse going down. That's fantastic. The scales, fair enough, not that interested, because it's the way that your body composition is. It's the way that your shape is that's more interesting than the scales. Another was told that her heart rate and her pulse was so good that her GP actually complimented her, and that's fantastic. And it's the mind as well. The journey that one of the members here on the right hand side has been one positive change every day, step one after the other. No matter how fast or slow we are moving, we are making changes every day just by reading and thinking about the module contents. I look forward to the rest of my life with these tools for feeling happy, healthy, and empowered to do what's best for my body. Whee! That's what you want, something that's going to last a lifetime. Now, this research has cost me thousands of pounds. I have spent time being coached, being mentored, course fees, that's probably an underestimation, and obviously I've got the experience. So I've calculated that it's cost me £25,325, but you can join in at a fraction of my investment. Well, 25 grand is ridiculous. Now, considering that I'm £85 as a consultant fee, you can get access to me on the program whenever you want. Not 24/7, but you know what I mean. I'm booked up, so this is probably the only way that you can work with me on a one-to-one. And it's going to be cheaper than a wasted gym membership. This is another comment from a lady about feeling tense and self-conscious. Don't worry, you can go back and read all these on the recording. But the Get Gorgeous program has a guarantee, and you can get started right now for £105. If you go to my website, get-gorgeous.com, you can get started for £105. Now, if you're feeling nervous, there's a money-back guarantee. There is no questions asked. If you just get down that road and you think that these habits are too hard for you, okay, don't worry. It's not for you at the moment. You're going to save £25,000. Get it? It's guaranteed. So do this right now. Pop along on your website, on my website, to get-gorgeous.com. And this is the page that you'll get. Now, if you join online today, if you go to that green button, you can go in and join me. And once you're joined, I'll go through the pages, but that is where you'd come, the member login, once you're a member. Now, if you look at all these different tabs at the top of my website, that's me, scary as it is, this is your home page. And you can scroll down, and at the bottom you've got the water challenge. You've got free weight loss tools, and that's where the walking, the water, and the tummy challenge are. The nutritional sessions that I've done on fats, on proteins are there in that free nutritional session. This, Join Get Gorgeous, this tells you a little bit more about the program. You can join in there, and it's like a brochure, that Join Get Gorgeous. It tells you everything, where I've been, what I've done, anything that you want to know about weight loss and what Get Gorgeous is about. Here is your payment options, your membership options, and here are some of my gorgeous testimonials. A blog. I'm always writing, you know I am. You get your weekly newsletter on a Friday morning, and most of them, the good ones, end up as a blog. And within those blogs, if you go to the blog, if you click on one of them and read them at the bottom, I invite you to a discovery call, to chat to me. I'm very, very booked up, but you're very welcome to apply. And you can do that at the end of the blogs, and you can contact me. So once you've gone through, this is the second page that you'll get, and this is your membership options. Now, as I say, you can get started for £105. It's 3 instalments of £105, and that takes the payment over every 30 days, and it goes through PayPal. Or it's a bit more cheaper and secure if you go through become a member. It's £297, and that's a one-off fee. And that is the Get Gorgeous program as it stands at the moment. It will change, but at the moment, this is where it stands. So if you want to get involved, do it now. Now, before we close, I just want to go back. I just want to go back to the questions. Christine, thank you so much for sharing. So going back to some of the things that we've said in the group. Oh, Tracy's just told me that she's had a problem with the sound. What a shame, because I did a sound check right at the beginning. Has everybody else been okay with the sound? I would love to know. Oh, drat, what a shame. That means I'm going to have to do the whole workshop again. So, lots of questions are coming through. Different names for sugar. You're quite right. I forgot to do that. Glucose, fructose, honey, and corn syrup. They're all names, different names for sugar. And sugar causes things like headaches, irritability, moody, and anxiousness. I'm just looking quickly for the checklist that I promised you. So just give me a minute. I will email you the checklist. I have got it up somewhere, but oh, there it is. Silly old me. Here it is. It's going into handouts, and it's loading up right now. So if you have a look in your handouts, you'll see the sugar checklist. 100%. So it's just gone there. So underneath questions, It's underneath questions, and you go down to handouts and you'll see the sugar checklist. Tracy, I'm always moving around. She thinks that some of the distortion problems could be to do with me jumping around. Yeah, I do that, Tracy. I apologise. I will stay still. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I've answered all your questions. If you've got any more, email me. I'll send you out a recording. I hope the recording audio is great, and I will speak to you soon, no doubt. Take care, my lovelies. Ah. Jensen's off to check the label on his biscuits. Remember Jensen? He's the cat. Good egg, everyone. Take care. Love you lots. See you soon. I'll see if I can now end the session. Bye.